Hey, it's Glen Gosch, realtor and broker with Coldwell Banker Tomlinson, here today talking about things I wish I knew before moving to Tri-Cities, Washington. All right, so we're going to jump into some topics and things that I wish I knew before I moved here. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just some things to know. But before we dive into everything, I want to mention real quick, if you are looking to move to the Tri-Cities, Washington area, my phone number is right here on this video. Love helping out people that are moving to the area. Since I've launched this YouTube channel, I've helped people from the west side of Washington State all the way down to Florida to move to the area. So we love people reaching out, and even people just reaching out with general questions. If you have a question, leave it in the comment or a comment section, or again, just shoot me a text, give me a phone call at the number right here, and you have my contact information in the description of the video as well. So first thing, you need snow equipment here in Tri-Cities. Now, the first couple of years I moved here, it wasn't that bad with the snow. We got a little bit of snow here and there. The kids were able to build a snowman outside, one day, and then a couple days later, the snow melts and we're kind of back to normal living. And then I think it was my third or fourth year here, we had what the locals came to know as a snowmageddon. So we got tons of snow, at least for the area. I mean, nothing like you would get in Alaska or some of the other northern states in the United States, but we got a pretty hefty amount of snow for the area. So you definitely need a snow shovel at a minimum for shoveling a path to your car from your driveway to just get some snow out of the way. And the snow shovel's kind of like the bare minimum. That's probably, you can get by with the snow shovel. I've seen some people buy snow blowers because on some years we do get quite a bit of snow. Makes it a little bit easier to clear the driveway off. Some people use ice melt for the days that it gets a little icy with the snow. Now, there's some contractors that don't really recommend that. They say it can hurt the concrete here. I don't know. Last or worst case scenario, I use it sometimes at my own house, kind of sparingly as needed if the ice is being really stubborn. And then some good shoes with good traction are good to have as well. As far as a vehicle and getting around, most times you can get around in any vehicle. I'm not going to lie. When I first moved here, I had a sedan, and there were some days it was pretty crappy trying to drive around. But I finally got an SUV with all-wheel drive. That helped out quite a bit. So just something to consider. There are some years that we do get snow here. All right, another thing to know. The sun is out late in the summer here in Tri-Cities, and it's out not that long in the winter. Now, if you are from the northern part of the United States, that's probably no surprise to you, but I grew up in the Southern California area, spent quite a bit of time in the Las Vegas area, and throughout the year, the days are a little bit shorter in winter and a little bit longer in in summer, but there's not that big of a swing. Well, here in the Tri-Cities area of Washington, there is a little bit more of a swing. It's not quite like living in Alaska where you get, full 24/7 daylight, or, it's dark for a certain period of time in the wintertime. But to give you a general idea, the sun's setting around maybe 9:30 in the summer here, but it's not really like pitch black out until maybe 10:30 at night on the longest day of the year. And then the sun's rising pretty early in the morning too. If you wake up in the morning, the sun's going to be out right when you wake up. Now in wintertime, sunset's pretty early, probably looking at sunset around 4:30 in the afternoon. It's not coming up till maybe 7:30 in the morning. So just something to keep in mind. There is that little bit of swing in the seasons with the sun, a little more even and balanced, I'd say, in the spring and the fall. All right, another thing to know, or thing I wish I knew, the weather is not typical here. It seems like it's a snowflake each and every year. Just last year, my daughter got married in the beginning of June. It was over 100 degrees outside. We were sweating at her wedding. It was a hot, hot day. And then this year in June, I don't think it hit 70 degrees on the same day. So you get quite a big swing from year to year. I mean, you can generally bank on a couple things. It's going to be warm in the summer. It's going to be cold in the winter. And then you'll get those in-between things in spring and fall. But it's just kind of a little unique situation each year as to when those days fall. All right, fourth thing I wish I knew before moving to Tri-Cities, or just something good to know, is you need an irrigation plan. So we don't get a ton of rain here in the Tri-City area. We do get, the snow in the winter. We do get some rain, but it is nowhere near the west side of the state. So it's pretty minimal compared to other areas in Washington. With that, most homes have underground sprinkler systems or some sort of sprinkler systems, and the water source can vary per home. So a lot of properties here get their water from an irrigation company. So it's a separate bill, separate assessment against the property. It's not your city utility bill where you normally pay your water for your house. This is a separate thing. It's a separate water system that's used for only irrigating your yard. Now, not every single home in the Tri-Cities area has this, though. Like my house, it's just set up on city water. So it's metered, and that's what I have to use for irrigation. There's some homes that are on wells, and wells are kind of a different animal too. There's only a certain amount of area that you can water with a well. There actually are some restrictions on what you can do with well water, which will bring me to another point here in a second. Number 5 thing to know, you guessed it, well water is restricted. So there's a certain, I guess, general rules when it comes to well water here in the area, and it can vary by area. So this is not like legal advice, don't quote me on any of these things. This is just to give you a general idea. So wells that are exempt from being metered, you typically can water about a half an acre of your property. And again, you'll want to verify this based on the property, but that's kind of the general rule of many of the areas here that are on well water. However, there can be exceptions to that rule. There are some parcels that have water rights where they can water more than that. For some areas, if the well is a newer well, they actually restrict it even further than that, and it's a minimal amount of yard space that you can water, just several thousand square feet, not very much. Now with that, if you also have irrigation water on your property or on the parcel, then you can use that to irrigate your yard, and then your well water would be what you have for your household water. So again, it's a unique kind of situation. Maybe not what you're used to where you're coming from, but just something to keep in mind if you're looking at bigger parcels here. And when you are on a well, talk with your realtor or talk with somebody that's knowledgeable on the situation of how you can use well water if you're looking at a house that has a well. Another thing to know about Tri-Cities, Washington is there are marijuana stores around.
I saw that on the movie.
Now, pot, marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, it is decriminalized in the state of Washington. Probably no big secret there. It's a little bit of a unique situation in the Tri-Cities area, though. It's not like some other areas of the state or other states where you're seeing a weed store on, just in the main part of town or whatever. Generally speaking, the Tri-Cities area, the sale of it is restricted within the city limits. So there's a couple shops kind of in the immediate Tri-Cities area where it's kind of on the outskirts of town, not really intertwined with neighborhoods or not really intertwined in like the main business areas or anything like that. So, I mean, if it's your thing, it's available for you. If it's not your thing, it's not right in your face. So just something to know and be aware of moving to the area. All right. Another thing to know about moving to Tri-Cities, Washington, or just kind of a general thing about the area. I found here that people are generally helpful.
Hidely-ho, neighborinos.
So when I first moved here, was not employed. My wife was not employed. We kind of just took a leap of faith, moved here to the area. We had people just that were very friendly to us and wanting to help. So that was huge. A couple other examples that I can think of. There was a couple years ago, neighbor on our street, they had a flood in their house, water line broke, and it was like all the neighbors on the street came over, rounded up towels that they had in their homes, brought it over so they could start soaking things up, providing any help that they could, taking things out of the house to get it out of the areas that were flooded. And you'll just notice things like that. There's kind of a sense of community. Generally speaking, people are helpful here. People are friendly. Not everybody has a chip on their shoulder. Again, I grew up in Southern California, a little bit different there, spent a decent amount of time in Las Vegas, and it's not quite the same of the friendliness that you feel in a town of this size. All right, so another thing to know about moving to Tri-Cities, Washington, or just a thing about the area, is the Running Start program that the schools have here. This is a great program for students that are academically ready for this. My daughter, my oldest daughter, took advantage of this when she was here. And what it is a student can go to college while they are in high school, so attend college classes and get credit for both high school and college at the same time. So my daughter was able to graduate at age 17 with her associate's degree and her high school diploma. So it's a great program for students that are ready and academically ready for that. It can help save some money, help save some time if they're working towards a career path that needs a college education. So something to check out if you have students in that age range that will be going to school here. All right, and that will lead me to what I have for number 9 on the list today, and the final thing of things I wish I knew before moving to Tri-Cities, Washington, and that is when you look online at the school ratings here, they are all over the place. And I've even seen the same school, like when you go onto the major popular sites, one year it's rated 6 out of 10, the next year it's rated 9 out of 10, and then the year after it's rated 7 out of 10. It's like, okay, where are they getting these numbers from? Is the school really going from that good to kind of average in a 1-year span? Like, what's really going on? How are they really coming up with these metrics and numbers? So what I found here, though, is the administrators, principals, staff at schools, they are very friendly. As I said earlier, people in Tri-Cities are generally helpful. And I've had people that are moving to the area reach out to principals or staff at school. They happily answer questions or any concerns they have about schools in the area and get a good feel for what it's like attending schools here. So with that, again, you can look at the online ratings, and I remember 1 year in particular I was looking, it was like every single school in Tri-Cities sucked if you looked at the ratings, and I just don't think that's true. I've had my kids in both private and public schools here. We've never had any issues with them in schools. I think it's a good school system here with opportunities. I talked about the Running Start thing. Some of the high schools here have programs that are geared towards STEM. There's the Delta High School, which all the school districts in the area allow students to go to that particular school that's geared towards STEM. There's the Tri-Tech Skill Center, which is kind of setting students up for career paths and kind of technical things, such as there's kind of gearing towards getting into the fire department or police department, construction trades, welding, nursing. So opportunities that way, and then just your more traditional schools as well. There's also online programs. Each of the school districts here has some sort of online capacity for students that need that. So I think the school system here is pretty well rounded. I've been happy with it since living here, so I wouldn't pay complete attention to everything that you read online with the schools. If you're thinking about moving to the area, do a little bit of research, but contact the schools where your child might be or your children might be going to, and just talk with the people. You'll get a better idea that way, I think. All right, so there we go. That was my top 9 things to know about, or things I wish I knew before moving to Tri-Cities. Again, not necessarily negative, not necessarily positive, just kind of some good things to know. And again, if you are looking to move to the Tri-Cities area, we love helping people out that are moving to the area, or even if you just have any questions about it, remember, shoot me a text, give me a phone call. You can find my other contact information in the description below the video, and we'll see you on the next one.